Calling all lightsaber spinners. Something recently happened and I'd appreciate your feedback. So my friend Sabersonic did a video where he said, to avoid confusion, I'm going to change the name from the helicopter toss to the cyclone. And I was thinking, that's a pretty cool name. And then I remembered and I was like, hey, I did a helicopter toss tutorial like yesterday. So then I look back at my previous video and then I start to remember how I ran into the name helicopter toss. The first thing I do is refer to my experience in Shaolin Kung Fu, and I couldn't recall any name for that type of spin. So I went to Google and YouTube, and so I just typed up helicopter toss tutorial, and I found some color guard tutorials. And the name was slightly different though. It was like helicopter parallel toss, or some people just call it parallel toss or helicopter toss. I was like, if I just find one tutorial, that's not enough. And I found at least like 3 of them. Then I started to think, okay, well, I'll use this reference, right? So I knew this would come up eventually, and I've been thinking about it for a long time now, but I've realized that lightsaber spinning doesn't have any sort of standardization at all. I have all these questions like, how do you define a skill? How can you determine whether it's well executed or not? How do you name a skill? How do you share it? And I've been in that situation where I'm like, did I create that skill or transfer it from another discipline? Do we maintain that name? Do we create another name? I'm sure you guys are all familiar with the Obi Annie. For example, the pioneer, Michelle C. Smith, she did a tutorial like a year ago and she said, Obi Annie, high-low whip, flourish whip, whatever you want to call it. And coincidentally, I learned in Shaolin Kung Fu as flourishing, or in Spanish, el floreo. So what Michelle did, this world champion, she brought her skills from her background and expertise. She brought it to the lightsaber or Star Wars community, and she started demoing or even teaching her skills. And through the years, more and more people are grabbing their lightsabers and they're doing tricks and they're spinning. And essentially, I realized that this is a discipline now. This is a hobby. This is no different than skateboarding. But it's like skateboarding when it first started, like in the 1950s. So lightsaber spinning is in its infancy right now still. Now I won't overdo this, but I'm going to do a comparison. Rodney Mullen is the godfather of skateboarding. He made most of the fundamental tricks of skateboarding. He created, or at least he's famously known for creating, the kickflip. But he didn't call it the kickflip. He called it the ollie flip. And socially, other people saw it, they tried to figure out how he did it, and they were calling it the magic flip. Years go by, and currently, today, we call it the kick flip. Skateboarding evolved from surfing, to being a piece of wood with wheels on it, to the boards changing, and then there were events around it, then there were competitions, and for those competitions, you needed some sort of criteria, some sort of standardization of all these tricks and how to make points. Right? And then later on, you have Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, and you actually have a default set of skills. But this is just my opinion. I feel like lightsaber spinning is kind of like in this freestyle era. I feel like people are coming from different backgrounds, and they're bringing their skill sets to this beautiful discipline, and that has so much potential, and it's clearly evolving. So I want to leave something with you, especially to those that are very active lightsaber spinners and very creative. A little excerpt from the pioneer of skateboarding.
If you guys aren't already leaders in your community, you probably will be. If there's anything I can give you that will transcend what I've gotten from skateboarding, the only things of meaning, I think, in a permanence, it's not fame, it's not popularity, obviously, it's what it is that there's an intrinsic value in creating something for the sake of creating it. And better than that, because, man, I'm 46-year-old, or I'll be 46, and how pathetic is that I'm still skateboarding. But there is this beauty in dropping it into a community of your own making, and seeing it dispersed, and seeing younger, more talented, just different talent take it to levels you can never imagine, because that lives on. So, thank you for your time.